Let me start this recording again. Now that we've kind of revealed to you the model of the split test per se, right? The split test. Everybody hopefully at this point knows the split test, and if you don't, get with your coach. Understand it. It's essentially just your way of gaming the Facebook environment. And you know, the house is always going to win unless you play the odds properly. And so the way to game Facebook is to realize that every time you run a new ad, you're running it into a new sample test. Especially with you guys in the United States, 15 miles is massive, hundreds of thousands of in some cases, if not more. And Facebook is trying to make a decision of performance and relevancy and algorithm in that moment with the first few hundred people reached that creates predictability of that ad success moving forward. So you got to be able to actually really go in there aggressively to figure out which ad is working and which ad isn't, or Facebook will continue to spend your money regardless, right? And that's, you know, that's on a daily, and that's why we show you your ad in 7 days versus lifetime. And if they start kind of not lining up, you got to just turn the ad off and start considering a new test.
I do have a question for you, if I may.
Yeah.
How can you tell how relevant the address is that you drop the pin in compared to the actual image? I'm trying to, well, certainly you can't like test both. You should only test for one thing at a time. I'm just trying to figure out, you know, do I use this address? Do I use that address? What is the most effective? Is there an more effective way to do that than just, again, continue to run ads? Because I do find that a particular image gets more clicks and leads than another, but I don't know how to do the address to even maximize it more. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Logan, you here?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, realistically, I don't really, it's hard to say that there's any, like shifting your pin drop over into a slightly different location, it may affect your relevancy, but I mean, it's again, because you're moving into a different group of individuals. You really need to understand your market and know kind of what's going to work, what imagery is going to work better in certain areas. Such as if you're not going with the standard map image, if you're going to start using like identifiable landmarks, then you can use an image and then tie in the area that really recognizes that image. That may increase relevancy a little bit for that location of individuals. But I mean, it's basically like, as much as I hate to say this, it's basically like a crapshoot. You drop, and that's why we do those 3 ads, is you could do the exact same pin drop in 3 areas and get completely different relevancy.
Right.
Or sorry, you know, three different pin drops in the exact same area, right? Same image, exactly the same, and have completely different results. It's just a matter of the first 500 people that just happen to view your ad. So again, it's just as I mean, and Marcus says it sometimes on our intro training to some of the new people now, is build 10 ads. You know, I don't love that idea personally. I think that eventually there's a certain point where you're competing against yourself, which is why I like 3. But again, I mean, if you don't find relevancy within your first 3 ads, kill them all right away, build another 3, and you should be able to find one that works. And as soon as that initial relevancy has been established, that ad should last you typically more than a few weeks. We should be talking in the scope of months before you need to start changing things again.
Right, and the time frame is still 24 hours. So if I'm getting no leads in 7 hours, still give it 17 more to see if there's a good response, and if not, bam, out 3 more.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, if I'm looking at 3 ads, one $7, they've all spent $7 at this point. One has already brought in 3 emails, and the other ones haven't brought in any emails. Right at that point, I might be able to say, okay, this one's doing what I want already within $7 spent. These ones haven't quite done it yet. Great, I'm still okay turning those 2 off, because you have found one that looks like it's really hitting its stride. If they're all doing the same and not doing what you want yet, then give them the full 24 hours to decide. But oftentimes in that 3 ad split test, within a shorter period of time, the ones that are working do often start to show signs that they're going to do what we want a lot sooner.
Okay, cool.
Hey, Joe, there's another thought with this too when you say narrow it down. Why not just go on your MLS, look at active pinning sold, go find the hot areas for activity, and then pin drop based on those. You can go ahead and take a address of something that's pending or whatever, and just use that to help you narrow down even more into the active and hot areas. And then that way, by doing that, when you run your Facebook ad, what'll happen is you already know you're in an area of high activity where people are searching. So you should bolster your results from that too.
I will absolutely give all that a shot. I mean, I'm finding, and I'm sure everybody else is too, these are the homes or areas I want to work, and these are, and I'm sure people run into this, here's the area that I really don't want to work in. We get a lot of those, and you focus on the areas you want to work. Just part of the crapshoot. But yeah.
You know, and again, you know, we talk about this a lot too, is that we're trying to maximize overall relevancy. And in the States, you have that 15-mile radius that you have to play with. So, you know, you could do this a couple different ways. You could consider blowing that radius up even, you know, kind of more along lines with what Leon's saying. I mean, obviously he's more mentioning find the hottest, you know, markets in terms of turnover and focus on them. But you could also find relevancy a slightly different way, where maybe you blow up your radius to 50 miles, figure out where the most common addresses are being submitted from, and then build an ad specifically focused on that. And you could even then take it a step further where, yeah, you're still targeting 15 miles, but maybe if there's one particular neighborhood that's 3 or 4 miles wide, that's really seeming hot, use imagery that's specific to that small area, reference it in the ad copy. And again, even though you might lose some relevancy because you're now including people who don't find that relevant, the people who see that, who live in that area, may take it a step further and go, wow, this is built for me, right? So you may find your cost goes up a little bit, but the people you're finding are right in the area you want. So there's definitely two ways of doing that. And again, we usually push the other objective. Let's find as low cost per lead as humanly possible. That's really what we usually push. But again, you may be looking for something slightly different. And I would rather pay a little bit more money for the thing that I'm really wanting, you know, typically. So
Right. So that gets into creating a custom ad, which, as I know, is a completely different class and all that stuff. And then attaching some sort of email campaign to that. I don't want to get off topic though, because I know today is about the what's your home worth, which, by the way, has been working well, at least for me as well. So
Yeah.
Come next week. I'll make sure that you have, if you don't already have it, my custom. I think you've come to one, if I'm not mistaken, Joe.
It's been a while.
So come next week if you want. Bring a photo of a local landmark or something with you. Have that ready to go, and I'll use your account and I'll help you build it with everybody else. Anybody else wants to see how to do that, I can use your account. I'll help you build that whole thing. Everybody can watch us do that, and that'll be our custom ad for next week if everybody's interested in that.
Well, all righty then, Mr. Logan.
Let's do it.
What time is that again?
That class is 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time every Tuesday.
Okay, that's awesome. So today we're highlighting a new, I wouldn't say new, it's just something that people really don't see or oftentimes utilize. This ad is working phenomenally for a gal named Carolyn. I don't know if Carolyn, if you're here right now, but we're gonna actually show this ad because for me, let's talk about this market, SoCal, LA, Hollywood, you know, the Beverly Hills, everybody knows San Diego. That market tends to be super hard to get into. Not only is a high-end market, it's a very competitive market. And I'm often telling people when they start up a trial to don't even start it with at $9 a day because of that marketplace being so competitive. Think 12, think 15 on a daily ad spend, maybe even more. Sometimes I tell them to double it just because you're not average. You know, that $9 a day that we've been running as a starting point has been something we've been utilizing for almost 5 years. So at some point we might say, kick it up a little bit, right? That just seems to be the sticking point we've used to utilize to get to that first few hundred people. Every market's unique. Every market's different. $9 a day in some markets is crazy. Like I'm working with a guy I have been trying to get a hold of in Indiana who's getting like $1 cost per emails and 30-cent cost addresses, okay, at $9 a day. And I'm like, dude, this is crushing it. I think he's got like $3 phone numbers. And he didn't even use it right. He just set up his ad in trial, put the name on the ad, didn't adjust it for the 15-mile radius or anything. So it goes to show you like anything can take off. On the opposite side, if you look at a market like LA or some higher end markets, it's super hard. It doesn't matter what you do. Sometimes you have to run multiple split tests to find a good cost per lead flow. So whenever we find something that's unique that can change the game, this is where we want to highlight. So I'm gonna share my screen. I'm gonna show you what I found. And if anybody has used this funnel, we're curious. Like, tell us if you've used it or not, because I'm gonna highlight it right now, and you would know if you've used it because you'd have to pull up your own image. And you may have used it incorrectly or picked a stock photo. But the key is, in this type of ad, you want to find something that really speaks to that local market, and I'll show you exactly what Carolyn did. Make sure everybody, I'll mute Jennifer. Mute yourself until we get you. Okay, so let me get to this particular ad so I can show you it. And here is the ad itself. What's your home really worth? Enter your address, receive your home value. That's it, simple, right? It's a different take on if someone were to buy your home, would you sell it, find its value in the current market? Now the key on this one, the key on this particular ad template is that you're wanting to find an image, preferably find a high-res image that you can upload. And you're gonna split test it the same way you do with the seller ad, you know, running 3 identical ads at the very minimum over 24 hours at that ad budget to see which one performs the best. Now, what Carolyn did here is just pulling an image of Hollywood, the Hollywood sign. It's like, it's that easy, guys. It's finding something that everybody knows. Everybody looks up in the sky when they're in LA and sees Hollywood, like looks up in the hills, right? So this encompasses a lot of what Hollywood and that LA and everybody represents, because it is Hollywood, right? So that is the type of thing you want to think of for your market. What's that local landmark, that local image, something that everybody resonates with, that they go to and they see all the time? It could be an aerial view. I know Troy was showing me a picture today of like the clock tower someone used in their local area. Just something that would resonate, not a typical like cookie cutter home, right? Everybody wants to use the home. You could use a home here. But what I really wanted to show you guys today is this particular ad is this funnel right here. It's the what's your home really worth conversion template. And so if you go down and start scrolling in your dashboard, and this is if you have a live account, because you wouldn't have access to this if you're in trial, you're going to look that right now, this is winning. This is getting a higher click to contact ratio than any single seller ad out there. It's actually 66.2%. 772 people are giving those results, and probably a lot of people not doing it right either. So you could probably even get these results better. Now, what it's doing, it's showing you that it's an average $1.81 address coming out of it right now, a $15 phone number, which is like almost, I would say $3 or $4 better than the average on the map template. And I think that could even get lower, and about a $4.69 email. And that's just on average. But what I'll show you about Carolyn is, I think I have the picture on here. Carolyn has an ad. Let's see, if I look at her ad results right now, it's a 94-cent cost per click in LA, and she's spent $163, generate 121 addresses, 36 emails at $4.55. If and I've tried, and I know a lot of you, Troy, Ira, Logan, Steve, whoever's here, have tried, anybody in the LA market or SoCal market. We all often say, like, if you can get an email within $10 spend, that's pretty good, based on what I've seen. Now, she's crushed it and cut that in half. That just goes to show you something unique, something different. And I want to know and hear from anybody here, have you used this ad template? And what type of results are you getting? And if you've used it, have you split test it? And she was doing that, by the way, at $3 a day. She just upped it to $4. And I often tell people, the $9 a day is something we start with, but I want to see at least whatever your ad budget is. I'd hope that you're setting it in such a way where you're getting at least 1 email a day. Like, you can adjust it any way you want, but the 1 email a day is what I shoot for. So yeah, let's open this up to a discussion. Who's used this funnel template? Joe, did you say you used it?
I'm using it with some pretty darn good success. I mean, I certainly still get the leads. I really don't want to work in areas, but just between yesterday and today, and I shut them off because I really didn't get that many leads from it. I want to try better. But the 3 leads I got also had phone numbers with them. And I think that was, and you can even check my account if you want, they were like $3 per email, something like that, which isn't too bad. you know, at all. And it was, one of the ads I used was of a really contemporary home. And the interesting thing is, I've gotten a number of leads from that ad before, and I think I even got some potential buyer leads from it who ended up going to my website, registering as a buyer looking for contemporary homes. So, I mean, but I am going to go back to trying the image of a local landmark, because I think that, again, something like that is a little more relevant than a really cool contemporary home. It's very specific. So I don't know, I'm still playing with it, because I want more leads than I've gotten recently.
Yeah, the automations don't change on that particular one, by the way. The email drip campaign is the same. The SMS is the same, yep. Right? It's just a little bit different capture. And so the key is, I think, on this is to understand, you know, breaking this down is when you click on this ad, remember, we're seeing it like this, but in the mobile view, which most of the time this is happening. Like, and this is crazy. I mean, you can see it's kind of pixelated. It's probably just, she just found a shot. She could find a higher res shot, but when you're on the mobile phone, you often wouldn't be able to see it this way. But it's the same type of thing. You click analyze my property. And I think the call to action really speaks, because we're saying, enter your ad, just receive your home value. Find out in 3 easy steps, right? Address, email, information about their home, type for selling, name, phone number. But essentially, that's the key. And you can see 13 comments, 8 shares on this already. So it's getting a lot of organic relevancy as well. And so that's the key. Don't neglect what's happening on the ad itself, because if you're not reaching out to these 18 people, you're missing out. If you're not seeing who's actually sharing this, you're missing out. If you're not interacting with the comments, you're missing out. And Facebook places a huge priority on making sure you're also interacting socially with that kind of interaction. People don't often look at that, but I always recommend to people, view your ad, share it, put it into groups, share it to your personal page, do whatever you can on top of the results you're getting on the ad performance side, because that will absolutely set that in motion for a long time in the future.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I'm one of those people that am stuck on the map.
Yeah.
I don't want to change something that's working, but anyway, I will try this. So when you talk about split testing, you're talking about split testing what you say on the top, right? Or split testing images, or split testing locations, like.
Good image. I mean, good image. Good question. Split testing is actually running the identical ad. What you're split testing is the audience. Every time you run a split test, it's like you're taking a shotgun, boom, and it's blowing out there to that, spreading all over the place to see where the relevancy is. You're never overlapping audiences. It may feel like it if you're running 2 identical, 3, 4, 5, 10 identical ads. Facebook is sampling that audience initially, looking for the relevancy score.
So you want the same exact ad 3 times?
Conservatively speaking, I've told people 5 to 10, not so that you can spend more money, because oftentimes what people do is just let Facebook spend their money, and then they let their ad run for 2, 3, 4 days at a time, and then they're not adjusting it. The key is when you run a split test, as soon as you get a contact that you like with full details, you basically found it. All you have to do is look at the ad ID it's coming from in your contact section, right? So if I had 10 ads running at $10 and within an hour I found a full contact in downtown, wherever I was, Wendy, and it gave me all the number, it was a perfect contact, I would simply just go to the ad section of my dashboard and toggle off all other 9 ads.
Okay.
Even though I've only spent, let's just say, $10 at that moment of all the entire budget for that $100 that I was telling Facebook that I would let them spend. Facebook is not going to spend it all right away, right? So when you're running split tests, you're spreading out as many audiences as possible to see which audience takes off the fastest, and you're toggling off the underperformers as soon as possible, and you're encouraging the ad that you like most based on the results coming in on the contact section by letting it go.
Okay. So do you think like if it is a certain area, if you should say that area, or just keep it, what is your home really worth?
No,
or should I say, what is your Desert Shores home really worth, if you're putting a Desert Shores picture in there?
Well, no, because if you're doing something like this, Wendy, and you're in Las Vegas, then I would put it in a little picture of the Strip, right? Like, what's the most iconic visual that comes to mind when you think of Las Vegas?
Right. Okay.
So what's your home really worth? Put the Strip in there, split test that, like, because everybody, whether they're in Henderson or in the outskirts of Las Vegas, knows the Strip.
Right.
So you're already speaking to anybody plus 15, 20, 30 mile radiuses. Everybody knows the Strip. You know, Las Vegas is iconic for the Strip. So I would make the Strip like that image. Just like Hollywood, the Hollywood signs, iconic for that part of California. So what's the iconic image that everyone knows and resonates with in your area, right? That's what when I'm saying I'm speaking to everybody here.
And it doesn't
want to be testing.
It doesn't have to be as iconic as that. I mean, we've seen it like work incredibly well for like the town clock. You know, like it could be a small town, but there's a clock. Everybody knows the clock. Or we've seen it work really well for that local park. There's a park that everybody goes to. Everybody knows. They take that park. It works great. And there's going to be sub-community icons. So it's like once you find an ad that's working really well by doing the audience split test, then, you can actually try and say, okay, well, is there a different max? Can I get a better result by taking now maybe there's a community I want to work with or a neighborhood I want to work with, take something that's iconic to them.
Right,
now
that's what I was trying to do.
Yeah. So then take a split test on that.
Yeah.
And see how that works.
Listing in Desert Shores, and they have really pretty lakes.
Yeah, exactly.
So I just posted one with the lake, but I didn't know if I should say Desert Shores, what is your Desert Shores home really worth, or if that's really limiting it too much.
Because your ads, because you've got good performing ads, Wendy, you can try stuff like that. You always want to start broad when you're starting out, because you want to get the good performing ad. When you have a good performing ad, then you can kind of experiment and you can try some other stuff, because you know what you're trying to beat or trying to compare it to. And you can always go back to the good performing ones if it doesn't work. So yeah, I would try that. So
someone just asked, can you put 2 pictures on it? And yes, you can. We use Canva for formatting. It's a really easy, free system where you can put 3 images, 2 images, 1 image, right? Absolutely test them out that way. It's an easy solution to set up multiple images on the ad, because you're going to see in some of those funnel templates and ad templates that we have those 3 pictures set up, right? And so it's no different. You just set it up that way with the 2 or 3 pictures that will local to the audience. And if you're on the beach, if you're in a beach community or near the beach, something with the beach, right? Highlight or find a really cool aerial shot, looking down at that community or looking down of that area that you're kind of encompassing. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but what we're trying to communicate is everyone thinks they have to stay on the one map template, and that split test works wonderfully. And always, even with that map, you should be split testing all the time anyways, whether it's a map, a satellite, terrain, 1 emoji versus 3 emojis. I mean, you never really know until you test it, and ultimately any one of those can work. But I would highly suggest that you also test other 29 templates we have.
This is Ron Branson here. Ira helped me out when we first started. Then finally he just said, why don't you just put a picture of your house, my own house on? And we did, and we started getting unbelievable responses. So it's just keep working whatever works. I mean, just keep trying until you find something that works.
And Ron, how many split tests did we do before that one?
Well,
We probably did
4.
3 different split tests across 3 different days and landed on almost nothing.
Right.
And then that one, he's like, Ira, I can't keep up now.
Yeah, I had to shut it down again for a little bit to get caught up.
That's our goal, guys, to overwhelm you with lead flow so that everything then shifts to, okay, how do I get these leads to talk to me? How do I customize my SMS? How do I customize my email autoresponders? That tracking component. But if you're having problems with actually generating leads, then you need to shift to something new. That's
Hey, Marcus.
Yeah.
Another thing too, I heard Wendy talking about if she should change it to the local city. I changed it out because I was tired of like saying your Raleigh area home. And then people in Youngsville, I was thinking, well, they're not going to think I work their area. So I actually just switched it so that it says your local area home or your local area. So instead of like putting the city name, I just put the word local, and that way I didn't have to keep customizing it, and anyone who saw it would think that I worked in their area.
That's smart for the map you're talking about. Now what we're talking about here, Jennifer, is this new ad template that basically says enter your address, receive your home value. So in this case, you're not having to put anything there as far as the area is concerned. It's basically going to speak to them based on the targeting side of this. So you can now think of images that would, that local audience that you're serving would really resonate with, and test that and see if you can actually beat, because this is supposed to be somewhat of a game to you. Like, you may have a good performing ad, but let's beat that. Let's always think about beating that, right? Why do we get stuck? I mean, I know our lives get busy, but complacency, right? If we just let it keep spending, it'll just keep on doing the results. On the other side of that, if we want to be aggressive and start testing things, who's to say we can't cut our lead costs in half? So that's just something to consider, is why we want to encourage you guys to start testing things outside of the realm of the typical property valuation conversion template, which everyone does, and that we know that's great. It's a great template, but at some point things change, and now we have to adapt and start thinking about some other ways of doing it as well.
Okay, so I have them all done. Will it bring my funnel in?
What's that?
Will it pull my funnel in, the normal funnel that I use on my maps?
Same exact thing. Same
I
exact.
don't have to do anything special. It's just doing it. Okay.
Automatically, yep.
Cool.
That will be assigned to the same seller automations that you already have set up.
So the ones that we already have set up, like the automations that go out, because I personalized all of them, like for the map one, you're saying just automatically uploads to the new ad.
Yep. Okay. It's still a conversion template. So, Kim, speaking to my neighbor over here in Vancouver Island, you can start thinking of that type of area, like, Parksville with all these different home parks, and yeah, you can start thinking of the aerial views and so forth. So there's a lot of cool ways you can try that as well.
So I have a question. Can I take the same ad I'm using now and just switch the image on it?
No.
So I have to create a whole new ad?
Create a brand new ad, and then create that again, and then create that again for 24 hours.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
And in the future, we're going to be trying to do something where we can launch 3 identical ones at the same time. So it doesn't have to be like create, go back, create. But right now, you're just going to manually create it 3 times. Same exact image, same exact targeting, same exact everything. Let them compete against each other for a period of 24 hours. Set your ad budget the same on every single one of them. And then just lock into whatever one of those ads takes off the fastest. Even if it's, and then you launched it in the day, and before you go to bed at night, you've already got 1 full contact from that ad. For me, you can be that aggressive in that moment if you found that contact with the full details, right? Even though you've only spent a few dollars on each ad at that moment.
Because the one I have right now, I'm sorry. The one I have right now is the map, and it's doing well. I mean, it's bringing in probably like 5 leads a day, but I just wondered if I should change it to an image, or
well, if it's interesting. If it's doing well, what you'd want to do is you want to leave it running, and you'd want to try to launch a new ad alongside it and see if you can get results that are better than the one that's doing well. So you want to keep the one that's doing well performing. And the reason that we want to, like, every time you're creating a new ad and not changing the image on an existing ad is because of the fact that the performance history is actually attached to that ad. It's attached to that ad, the ad set, and the campaign. So if you just make a change to an ad, it doesn't give the opportunity to get a new audience test result. And so if you, so you won't be able to get as good of results as if you just create a brand new one. It'll give you way better opportunity to get in front of a new audience, create a new history, and get new performance. But then another thing to remember, if you have an old ad that is performing well, but then you kind of see that performance tapering off over time, one thing you can do is you can actually keep everything the same, but just duplicate that ad. And when you duplicate it, what you're doing is you're taking the existing history that's done well over time, but you're giving it a fresh chance to restart. So you can actually play with history and you can use it to your advantage. But we always recommend just, the best thing you can do, and this is like, it's really a secret of Facebook. A lot of people don't know this, but because the history is ties to your ad, if you have an ad that's struggling and it's not doing well, and you just tweak it or change it, the chances of it doing well is almost zero, because that history is always following it. So create a new ad, and that's why the split test is so great, because you're giving 3 brand new histories, total opportunity to get in front of Facebook, and then see what that relevancy becomes, see what that engagement becomes. And you'll even notice that you'll get one ad that will have such great conversions. You'll get phone numbers, emails, and if you're not getting enough emails, sometimes, but you're getting great cost per lead, just do another split test, because the way that history affects it going forward, it matters. It matters a lot. So yeah, so you want to always start from scratch.
Can I ask a dumb question?
Always.
Yes.
Because my questions are always dumb. I'm just kidding.
No dumb questions.
No dumb questions.
As long as you're ready for
Yeah.
a dumb answer.
Yeah, give it a minute. Explain the running 3 ads exactly the same thing again. Do you really mean exactly the same, or you just want us to change? Jonathan's already shaking his head.
Everything's the same, because what you're doing is you're starting with an ad that we know is got great creative. It's got all the right settings on Facebook. Everything, the way the pixels set up, it's done exactly the way you could dream of it being set up. So what you're testing isn't the ad, you're testing the way it connects with your audience on Facebook. So
and why would it connect differently on Facebook if they're exactly the same? That's really what I'm wondering.
Every time, like just take this Zoom meeting as an example. Let's say we have an ad that's getting shown on Facebook, and we're the ones who are watching this ad. Facebook doesn't show it to everybody in this meeting. It shows it just to like 3 or 4. But who's to say that those 3 or 4 people are the 3 or 4 people who happen to live in your neighborhood, who happen to have who happen to be the right fit, who happen to have the right, all the different parameters that go into targeting. And so the more ads you run, the more opportunities you get in front of everybody until you find that right fit audience. And so
okay, so it doesn't really have to do with the ad. It has to do with Facebook dynamics.
Exactly. Once you've identified that you have a really good ad, like creative, and the setup of it is right, then you just want to focus on the audience.
Okay.
Yeah. One way to really look at it is it's, as Jonathan's explaining, it's the first 500 people that view your ad. That's what sets the relevancy. And as soon as relevancy is set, that sets your cost per click. That also sets your preferred audience moving forward. So imagine this. I kind of drew a really rudimentary little drawing here. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but imagine you got this here is your targeting circle, right? This is your 15-mile radius. Now here, these are little pockets of people, right? Now I did 3, and you can't really see it, but some of them have smiley faces and some of them have frowny faces. Let me put it this way. Facebook has decided I'm a great lead because I'm somebody who owns a home. I'm somebody who's been clicking around on things, giving all these buying signals. Facebook's like, okay, this guy's going to sell his home soon. Now, I, however, just fought about the home with my wife. I stubbed my toe. I'm having a bad day. I may be a great lead, but I'm having a horrible day. Facebook is targeting me with your ad. I react negatively to it. Not because I don't like the ad, but because I'm having a bad day. Facebook will then say, okay, this is somebody we thought was going to be perfect for this ad, and he hated it. This ad must not be very good, right? Now, you did that exact same ad 2 different times and found slightly different audiences that happened to react better to it. The ad's the exact same. The ad's running the exact same place at the exact same time. But it happened to test an audience that favored it more than the part of the audience I was part of, if that makes any sense. So the ad that I saw is going to sink because I clicked negatively and other people in my little test group reacted more negatively to it. It's the same ad, right? But even though you're targeting an area of hundreds of thousands of people, You're relying on the first 500 that just happen to see it at that moment. And however they happen to react in that moment will set that ad up for the future, right? So 3 ads, never a clue as to which one's going to test better, but that's the idea of it. You build 3, hopefully 1 tests properly, and then you run with it. If not, you kill all 3 and build another 3 until you find one that hits the proper test audience.
Okay, I understand that now. I wasn't bought into that, but I get it now. So I appreciate that. And also, I did see the customized template, and I was gun shy because I wasn't sure if I was screwing it up, you know, like how that was really going to look when it published.
And again, I said the same thing to Joe as well, is on the custom ads, they're super, super, super easy once you understand what you're doing. But until you understand exactly what you're doing and what effect it's going to have, you're wading into, you know, unknown territory. So that's the reason why we have all these other courses and classes and stuff. So if you're concerned or confused or just want to get a little bit more information, look at the Calendly link for our team Calendly link. Come to my Tuesday custom ad class. Ask all the custom ad questions. And same thing I told Joe, come prepared with an ad that you want to build, and it will help you build it, right? If we don't have time to help everybody build their ads on that class, we'll wait for another week, but we'll get everybody who wants to build something custom, we'll get you taken care of.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll piggyback off that. That's the same goes on your conversion, because some people are really like I want to be here for conversion. That's why we have a conversion workshop Tuesday, Thursdays, right? Some people are like, I really need you to review my ads and I need to get better results. That's why we have the ad tweaks workshop, right?
I have a quick question. So
yeah.
I've been a little spoiled. Somebody spoiled me and has created all my ads for me. So
no.
How do you replicate, in a location so you can do the split ad testing? I actually want to do it myself today, Logan. So how do you replicate the exact location?
We call him Cuddle Bear.
It's, I mean, realistically, it's, when you go to build it, there's a chance, especially when you're doing a pin drop, you're going to be a fraction of an inch over. It's fine. I mean, realistically, and Marcus touched on it earlier, we're really hoping, and anybody on our dev team who's attending this meeting, hopefully they're listening, we're really hoping to have a build this ad X amount of times. So you can build one ad and then recreate it 2, 3, 10 times, whatever you feel like in that moment. That's kind of what we will be building towards that in the near future. But for now, just get it close. That's the idea. And you could type in your specific area in the targeting field and just know that you're dropping a pin in the middle of that area and it's expanding 15 miles in your area no matter what, so long as you're in the States, which I know you are. So there's that, right? But again, if you're just dropping a pin, just get it close.
I'm gonna run a quick poll for everybody. I'm just curious, who's ran this template? I'm not talking about the map template. I'm talking about the template we just talked about, what's your home really worth template with the split test. The split test. I'm not talking about running it once and saying, oh, I ran it. I'm talking about running it as a split test. And I'm also talking about, hopefully, you guys are really understanding this is about a image that's local. Don't grab the stock photo. Like, the whole point of giving you the ability to upload a photo is for that specifically, right?
I'm just curious what I got to do to get Ira to start making my ads. I mean, what's going
Ira,
on?
oh yeah. There's some people that are.
I'll give you Cuddle Bear's link.
I'm a bit of an enabler. That's my bad. I'm sorry.
That's okay. And so I'll really quickly help you guys show you simply how easy this really is to set up. So when you go into your dashboard and you're looking at this template right here, because here you know when you're running an ad, you go to this funnel section of your dashboard. That's all you're gonna do. You're gonna go down to this one called "What's Your Home Really Worth?" And there's a whole bunch of other ones too, but you just click select, and you basically have a pick from stock, upload a file, or your images. And upload a file would be where you actually upload your photo. And in this case, you know, you can see I'm in Carolyn's account. She's got a bunch of photos that she's already uploaded in here that she's probably used with listings and so forth. But here's that typical, you know, easy ad that she uploaded, which is the Hollywood. For you, you got to figure out your own picture. And then everything's the same. It's basically just dropping a pin. So You know, let's just use Hollywood, for example. If I were to go into Hollywood, I'd basically just type it in here. I'd look at that 15 miles. In Canada, again, you guys don't have to do the 15 miles, but then I would just move my pin around, which would be ideal to that. And remember, the beauty behind the pin drop for those of you that live near an ocean or mountains is you can adjust that accordingly to kind of hack the algorithm. Okay. So that's the one thing that you kind of going to want to look at is really make sure that almost the pin drop is your first place to start, because you really want to understand who am I getting in front of. And then once you figure that out, you basically just click escape out of there, click done. You got these coordinates and you launch. You choose your daily ad budget and deploy. And then you just do that another 2 times to create a split test. That's how easy really this is to set up, you know. Deploy, ads on, go back, build it a couple more times until we figured out how to do it for you. But that's the easiest way to create that type of design. So you just want to go find a picture. I'm sure most of you guys can go find a picture quite easily, right? That's my only recommendation. Start thinking in terms of your audience, like who are you speaking to? For those of you that are in the United States, go really design that pin drop to make sure you're tapping into that audience. And then you can shift that pin wherever you want it to go, even out into the ocean if you're in a beach community or near the mountains, to kind of hack it a little bit to really get into that zone. And in Canada, you can go as small as you want and find an iconic photo for that area.
Guys, I have a stupid question. I'm sorry. I know I haven't talked in a long time, but is there a possibility in the future that we can use a video for this one?
You can do a video now. So the way to do a video now, I actually did a thing, I think it's recorded in the Insider group. If you create an ad, do all the steps, you know, upload a stock image, all that kind of stuff, StreetText will go and create it all for you. Then go to your ads manager on Facebook, just find that ad that you created. And there's an option in there. If you delete the creative, you can then upload it as a video there. So you'll have everything set up correctly, just the way you want. And then all you can do is just upload the video. So it's kind of a way of working around it for now, but then you can have a video for your ad. So if you did like a cool drone shot of an area, or you know, maybe
that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, they could do some really cool creative stuff with the video. And then if you do it, you know, please share what you've done in the Insider group, because I want to see it.
Well, I was thinking more likely on that is it's not, this is for a listing. I was thinking about that for like, you know, for a buyer lead, because if you have that video for your home, then they can see that. It's more likely that they will click on it more than, you know, than just a typical photo, you know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, no, that would be cool. So yeah, if it's a listing, same thing, share it and we'll love to see it.
Yeah, I'm curious. I just shared the poll results. So there's 8 of you that actually have tested this one. If anybody wants, I mean, share the results with us. We'd love to know in the Insider group. Take a screenshot. If you got, hopefully you guys know how to do that now with technology. Take a screenshot of that particular ad visual that you're using and the results that you got, just like I did with Carolyn's for the to kind of get you guys here, to get you pumped up. I want to see what you guys are doing so we can all share it with it and see how that compares to the map ad that you ran on the seller side. Like you've all split tested the seller side of the map. You know your results, share them, show the difference so we can see it for your market. Hey, Carolyn, do you have something you wanted to say?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you a question. So, how you doing? So, you asked me to split test the same ad yesterday, to test it twice. Now, as far as like, say if I want to leave it on for 48 hours, what about the emails that I created, the ones that have the video embedded? Should I duplicate those on? No,
they're automatically attached to that ad. So as many ads you want to run, you could run 10 of those as a split test, and they're all going to be attached to the exact same automations that you've already personalized.
So if I wanted to duplicate the same ad today, I kind of forgot how to go about doing it. Would you mind if you can just walk me through it?
Yeah, it's just like I shared in your funnel. You basically just go straight back to that what's your home really worth. Click select. You already have the image in there. It's that image right there.
Right.
You put your targeting right here. You know, whether it was that, what was the address you were targeting from? Do you remember? What was it?
I think it was Burbank.
Okay, we'll just say Burbank. So Burbank. So if I took Burbank right here, click done, click next, deploy.
Okay.
That's it. I just launched an ad for you.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. See how fast that was, guys? And then she would do it a couple more times if she wanted to split test. So that's the idea of the split test. You'd run that ad, run it at least a couple more times, if not more. Remember what I'm telling you guys, just to really make this clear with you. It's not so you can let Facebook spend your money on all 3 ads or all 10 ads or as many do. It's run them as long as it takes for you to find the performance you want, basically, which is going to be a full lead, right? Or maybe just even an email at that point. But if you get an email within a couple bucks, you're stoked. If you get a phone number within a couple bucks, you're even more stoked. So that's the type of idea, is that just track it. Like, we're not asking you to do that all the time, but if you're running the split test, be a little bit more aggressive in monitoring it. And you could have the section of StreetText active in your view. Sometimes it lags a little bit behind the Facebook ads managers. John, is there any correlation there? Like, what's the accuracy between the StreetText side and the spend in the Facebook ad manager? Would they ever want to have both open just to kind of watch?
I guess you would be like, whatever comes first. Look, if you're getting good leads from one ad and none from the others, just turn the other 2 off. If you hit 24 hours, but your impressions are, but you didn't hit 500 impressions, that's usually a good sign. You're going to want to turn those ads off because they're just not, it's not clicking. So you're going to want to relaunch those. If you've got great impressions, it's been 24 hours, but no leads, again, you're going to want to turn those ads off. But it's whatever comes first. Like, always look for 24 hours, but you do get a feel for your own ads in your own area, because there are some cases in some areas where, you know, you won't get the same amount of impressions when you initially launch as, you know, and you'll kind of get a feel for that. So you might want to run it for 48 hours in that case. And that just might be like something you're used to, because Facebook in that area has got a slow ramp up. It takes about 48 hours and then it kind of kicks up. And, you know, Ron, you might have even noticed that a little bit in your area, because it's like, there's just some markets where Facebook just does that a little bit. They just have like a slow taper at the beginning and then they ramp off. Other markets, it's completely the opposite. You'll notice, like, you'll be running an ad for 2 hours, like Marcus says, and you don't have to run it longer than that. You've already got the results you're looking for. You turn off all the ads. So it's really, you know, if you're not seeing everything, just wait 24 hours, check in. You'll see your impressions, you'll see your ad spend in StreetText, and it will be accurate. If you're seeing something earlier, great. Just exactly. If you get an email address and the other ads haven't gotten you anything yet, just turn those other ones off.
Well, I mean, here's the thing to kind of take note of. If you're seeing this funnel produce close to 7 out of every 10 clicks become a contact, then really what you're looking for is clicks. So clicks in this type of ad and funnel produce contacts, right? That's just easy as it is. So if you're getting lots of clicks, you found a good ad, right? If you're getting a low CPC, you found a good ad. That's it. The only time I ever don't see that work is if you have something in there that's too localized. So your clicks are not translating to contacts, because it's only speaking to that person that's in that local area, and it's not speaking to the 15 miles that you should have adjusted the ad for. That's the only time I don't see click to contact ratios in favor, in line with that type of ad and funnel.
So may I ask a question?
Yeah.
I am looking at mine right now. Is there a way to go in and change the ad that you have? Like, I do want to do the 15-mile radius, and I want to, you know, hone that in a little bit, but I'm not sure. Do I need to create a new ad just to do that?
Yeah, brand new one. Just toggle that one off. What are you using, a map right now? Which one are you using?
Well, I have two. I have both of them running. The one that that you were talking about earlier, and I was one of the ones that had the poll. I'm not tech savvy enough to screenshot because I'm looking at my computer, not my actual phone. So anyway, so I have that going, and I have the map one.
What's the image? Well, okay, what's your 2 different performances? What's the image you used for the one that we just talked about? And what's the map one? What are they showing on both of cost per click? If you go to the ad sections, I'm just curious, and a cost per email.
Okay, cost per click on the map is it says $1.03 on lifetime.
Okay.
And on the other one, it says $1.41 cost per click.
Okay, and what's the image used on the other one?
It's the little blue house.
Okay. Yeah.
The one that that
And
we were talking about earlier.
The ideal on that one is not to use the little blue house. The ideal on that one is to not use a stock photo, because that's something that every realtor uses out there, and you're competing against everybody. So what you're going to want to do, where do you live, Mara?
I'm in Huntsville, Alabama.
Okay, so is there a photo that would resonate with that area within that 15 miles, something that everybody
It would. I could do the Space and Rocket Center.
Perfect. So the Space and Rocket Center, you would find that photo, upload it, and create that ad with that template. And then you'd run that identically three times, 1, 2, 3, over the course of 24 hours to find which is the best performance. And I'm almost want to guarantee you that you'll find better results in the blue house.
Okay.
I don't want to guarantee you, but I almost want to guarantee you.
Yeah, I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and so that's it. I mean, and so it's just go find that photo that local is going to resonate with that audience, and use this template that way. Like Leon, you could use that photo right now that you have in the background. That would be perfect. You know what I mean? You can mute yourself. I haven't heard from you today, so I kind of missed your voice.
No, I said something for Joe earlier. No, I would like here for me, iconic is the Tacoma Dome or the Space Needle or something like that. But yeah, the sound is a good background to use, and I'd probably use the Tacoma Dome because everybody sees it and they recognize it.
Yeah, no, and so try that out and test it. I think we should all come out of this mastermind and go split test the local audience and then share the heck out of it in the insider group and see what results we got, because that's going to encourage everybody. And we'll I think we're going to find some really killer results. I'm really excited. It's going to boost up the stats on that funnel too. Because if you look at, here's what you need to know. When you're looking at this stat right here, this one right here has 15,000 out of this last month testing it to reveal those numbers. $2 address, $5.94 email, $18 phone number, 61.7% click to contact ratio, right? I mean, that's incredible. I mean, that's some phenomenal stats. But this one, I think has a huge potential, because a lot of people, when they use this, are not using it right, and it's still producing these stats, right? It's not to say you can't get results with any one of these images from stock. Like you could get results. Obviously, people are, but why not crush those results by finding a photo that would identify with that audience? That's the only thing to it. I mean, it's simple as it get. The call to action on there is really simple. Enter your address, get your home value.
I like that. And something that's interesting is you can use a picture of a home. Like Ron is using a picture of his own home, and that's obviously resonating very well with the audience. If you're using a picture of a home, use a picture of a home that looks really similar to homes in your market. It could even be something that, because you want people to look at that photo and say, yeah, that looks familiar, because then they'll engage with it. And so the key with Facebook is you want to have that familiarity. You want to have it with all your posts, your ads, everything you do. It's obviously Facebook is like funny, connection, familiar. Like those are really like the winning combinations. And so even in your chats, you can bring the funny in there, because I know that Jennifer does this all the time. So it's like if people are asking questions, respond in a funny way. That obviously creates great engagement, great conversations in your ad. And then you got the funny component. But yeah, start with something that's familiar, as familiar as possible. Kind of stops the scroll, gets people to engage, and go from there.
Part of the rationale with Ron's too is he's in Vegas, and if I'm in Vegas, the landmarks of Vegas are immune to me. Like I don't want to see another Vegas strip, because people that live in Vegas, and some of you might differ, but
I'm going to disagree.
So that's what. So they might just like scroll past it because they're so used to.
Show me the test first. Show me the test first before you say that.
And that's the other thing. But he didn't let me finish. The other thing I was going to say was that we didn't test it though. We ran it, we had the house on it, and the quick thing that we could do is we could jump to judgment. Would this work? We always say, would this work? Would that work? So I was gonna preface it before I even got a chance. Marcus just jumped in there, and true Marcus, before I even had a chance. We didn't test it against the Vegas Strip. We did the home first. He landed on phenomenal results, and then turned it off. But the next step would be, my guess was this, but is that true? How do I know? I test it. So one thing we always say is test, don't guess. So like, a lot of people say, would this work? And we often as coaches would say, well, I don't know, let's test it. Like, we love, as Logan likes to say, we love when you prove us wrong. Like, if it gets you better results, we're okay with that. So whenever you're kind of thinking, would this work? Well, we don't know, test it. Like, we're always surprised by the results. That's the cool thing in it. Come out the other side with better results.
Hey, Ira, I love it.
You're wrong. I disagree with Ira too. I don't like being wrong. So
hey, Ira, I'm gonna start using that test, don't guess. I don't say that, but now I'm gonna say it all the time. Good job.
I have a quick question.
I've said a ton in webinars we've been in before, Marcus.
Woo! So you know how you guys showed me how to put a customized link on my postcard, so that it was like, you know, LV home values for the StreetText thing. Let's just say some of these ads that I just pushed out today are better than my map. Let's just say. All of the map ones are on my postcards. Is there any way to make that link to a different one if I turn it off? Or?
You're as far as I'm aware, if you're asking what I think you're asking, you have your landing page URL hard coded on those, so somebody can just type in and get to that. Yes. I don't see that being a huge issue, because the different ad would essentially lead to a very similar type of automation anyways. So if you're sending them that same hard-coded URL to a landing page on StreetText, even if you're not using that ad any longer, that landing page will still remain active.
Work.
Not
It'll
a problem.
Still work.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
I just want to make sure that I'm not sending out 850 freaking postcards with the wrong address.
And so long as you're still on the StreetText, those landing pages should all still remain active.
Yeah, exactly. And the idea there is, on Facebook, you're trying to stop the scroll. But once the postcard is essentially doing the same thing. It's getting a person to stop, take action. When they enter that URL and go to the landing page, they're going to continue no matter what. But you want it to,
gotcha.
So you're.
I just want to make sure it still works if I stop the ad.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Now, one of the good things is that if someone comes through the first time through an ad, and then they come through your postcard, you'll actually see a number on your contacts. It'll show like a 2 on the funnel. Oh. So you actually see that they've come through a second time.
Well, we are going to track it. Yeah, we are going to track it a different way, but I didn't know I could do that. So you'll see it. 2?
You'll see right on your dashboard. So when they come through a second time, you'll see it 2. And then the really cool part about it is that you'll see that the first time they go, especially if they're an address only, they'll put their address in. The second time, they'll go all the way through the form. And so track it, but the system's also helping track it for you, which is great.
Okay. So where it says one last captured 5 hours ago, it'll say 2. Yeah, cool. Yes. Awesome. Yeah. And just a quick share, I have a really good ad that I did a while back that's still running, and it's a buyer ad, and it's down to hold on.
Share it.
And it's a great, do you want me to share it here?
Yeah, share it. I'd love to see it. This is all about sharing. Sharing is caring. All right.
Okay.
Crushing it on the conversations, I see.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, hello, need a freaking address, because we kept going back and forth, and I still only had Henderson. I'm like, I love that you did all that stuff to your house, but can you give me your address to get my job done? So this is where that 2 will be right there, Jonathan. Okay. So
yeah, exactly. That's it.
Okay, so the ad I'm running, and it's just a picture of a pool that I absolutely loved on one of my listings a couple years ago. Hopefully the new owners don't care.
Uh-oh, I just saw what you're running for your ad in Vegas.
Yeah, this is the Desert Shores one. This is the Henderson one, the dog park, which is an aerial shot of that.
I love it.
My favorite map.
Yep.
But this one right here, 89052 pool home list. It I just ran the zip code, and then that picture just does good. It's down to $2.55 an email. So that's pretty good. Better than my max, actually.
Oh no, that's actually a phone number because you're running a lead ad. So you're getting on that. If you're running a lead ad, which I think is that's what you're running, right? That's a lead gen ad on Facebook. We don't show the phone numbers there, but the lead ad gets captured all the information at once. So that's why you see your lead cost per lead 244 and your cost per email kind of the same. You're also getting numbers in that one. So you're basically, that ad is producing a $2.50 phone number as well.
Oh, nice. Yeah, no, I generate those for my agents. So they're working the buyer leads.
And so show everybody really quickly which funnel that is that you built that from.
It was so long ago, I don't remember. It's been running for a long time, obviously. I have 500 leads from it.
Logan, did you cut out that one, Logan?
January 27th is when I started it.
Either way, that's awesome. It's I believe it's the lead ad. Is that a custom one or is that a
I believe it's a custom lead ad that we did, but like I said, it's been so long. But yep, that's all it is, and then it goes right to my website, which I did a link for 89052 Homes with Pools, and then it goes right to there. So it comes through Ylopo info of us, and then they start chatting with the person. So I don't have them on a funnel through StreetText. It goes.
Well, look at that. Look at the amazing social proof you have on that. Almost 200 likes, 14 comments, 21 shares.
Everybody's trying to, hey, we can clean your pool.
That's awesome.
Whatever. But yeah, so that one's working really good. I just wanted to share that with everybody. So but yeah, we'll see how these go. So this is the strip view one that we're gonna prove someone wrong here.
Yes. Well, remember, if you're gonna run that one, you have to run it 3 times.
I did. It's on there. Okay,
perfect.
Yeah, I have 3 of those, and then 3 of my.
I'm excited. I'm excited for that. I want the results in 24 hours. I want to prove everybody.
All right, I will post it up Friday.
Love it. And everybody here, share it, please. Share your results. We want to see what's working, what's not working. There's nothing to say that you're going to get incredible results, but like there's a good chance you will. And you know, especially in some of your harder markets, like I know a lot of you like where it's some places in Arizona and Florida, in California, some of those harder to get into markets. I would jump on that ship so fast, especially in the SoCal area where people are trying to get in there and they're like, I can't even get an address for $15 spent, right? So it's in some of those markets, now it's the time to shift into these new templates.
So Wendy, can I ask you, I mean, you're running a lot of ads, for your team, I guess. I mean, are they getting new buyers every week to go show homes to, or?
Daily, we have leads coming in from that, for sure.
How many of those how many are you converting, I guess, maybe?
Well, it's I know, that's the next thing. They are definitely starting to do better now that, you know, everybody's starting to shop. So Las Vegas is kind of blew up and our market is on fire. So I definitely think we'll get some good results later. My listing ones are doing really good. I'm listing another one next week, another StreetText lead. That's the Desert Shores one that I'm trying.
Yeah. Hey, Wendy, you know that's because the Raiders are moving to town, right?
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it is. Everybody thinks their home is going to be worth double here.
Yeah, that's just, you know, my team. That's all I'm saying.
I love the Raiders. I know. And
with the Raiders track record, they're only going to be there for a week and a half, though. So.
Okay, well, we'll see about that. Super Bowl champions this year. Just watch.
Well, and it's funny because it's kind of like, you know, religion and politics. So I was like born into it, I think all my clothes were Raider clothes. My dad just like brainwashed me, you know, and
just win,
but
baby.
I can't even really act excited because half of our town are Raider haters. I'm like, Raider, quietly.
all the non-football fans are like, what are you talking about? Who are the Raiders?
We actually have some really cool magnets that are going up that have the Vegas Knights and the Raiders in their schedule. I'm so excited for that. That might be a good ad. I could put that up.
Exactly. Why not put in a Raiders photo with that? And you're gonna either get some haters or really people started resonating with it. If anything, you're just gonna get attention. Just put a big Raiders flag on that. Enter your address, receive your home value. Who's to say, you guys? That's what I'm saying. Like, for you're in Seattle, put the Seahawks there or something, right? Like, there's some diehard people in the States, man, and you just all got to just find the right iconic image to put in front of them, and they'll just click on it just to click.
Here in Seattle, you'd put the 12th fan because they go overboard about it. So I'd put the 12th fan is what I would do.
Exactly. So there you go, Leon. You're gonna go test that one.
I got a question. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Would there be a possibility that we can do an ad for a virtual open house?
Yeah, I direct all those questions to Logan's custom ads class.
Oh, okay. So I guess I have to contact Logan for that? Okay, cool.
No, you don't have to contact him. You just come to the custom ads class.
Oh, come on!
Or you go to Steve and Whiting's ad tweaks class. Those are the two generals on the ad creation side.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
And I can actually, you know, if we're getting enough requests for it, I definitely want people coming to that class whenever possible. But maybe what I'll do is I'll just record a quick video. It'll probably, if it's not done this week, it'll be done by the end of next week, and I'll post it in the insider group. It'll just be a quick walkthrough how to use the custom ad template. Nothing special. It'll be a 3-minute video of click on this, enter this, do this. I cover that at the beginning of every custom ad class. We do the first 20 minutes basically is showing how to do all that. But I'll just record a quick video and put it in the insider group so everybody has a quick idea as to how to use that custom thing, because it's ideas like that's what we're looking for. We want people, all of you guys are very creative individuals, and we want that creativity to be put to good use. The ability to say, I have a crazy idea, come and build it and let it run for a period of time. After a short period of time, it's either working or it's not. If it's working, great. Bring that back to these meetings and stuff and say, hey, this is an ad I built and it's working great. And the idea is your creative thought will be improved upon by other people within this group, right? So that's exactly what we'll do. I'll film a video, and if it's not available by tomorrow, it'll be ready to go for next week.
So quick question, really quick, on ad targeting. Obviously I'm new to this, so I'm still trying to, feel around and work my way through it. But the drop a pin, that versus targeting locations, actually putting in the different surrounding areas, does one work better than the other, or it's the same?
For me, I prefer dropping a pin simply because you can fully view what that full radius looks like. Whereas if you're in the States, is that correct?
Yes.
So if you type in your city name, Facebook is figuring out where they think the middle of that city is, and then doing a 15-mile radius around it anyways. So if you typed in, 3 city names, you've got 15 miles around one city, 15 miles around another city. You know what I mean? So it's, in my opinion, it's better to simply drop the pin, manipulate that pin drop, actually visibly see what that radius is, so you can really make sure it's in the area you want. You can enter city names. It does work. But personally, I do prefer that being able to view the targeting is better. It doesn't necessarily impact performance one way or the other. It's just being able to really see where your leads are coming from. And if you're starting to find leads in an area that's way outside where you were hoping for, you would have, you know what I mean? You can see on your target, oh, okay, I'm actually targeting that area. That's what's happening, as opposed to, I wonder why they're coming through, and then we have to find another solution for that, of course, but it's a personal preference.
Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
That's a good point. In Alabama, you're from Alabama, right?
Yes.
Like you may be able to move that pin to an area where it almost, like you can kind of use the map to your advantage. So if you have an area that's like, more rural, so it kind of like allows you to focus on the area that you're trying to target. Do you know what I mean? Like you can drag it like if you are in a coastal area, you can actually drag that pin so it's half on the water, so you can get just the area that you're going for. So the pin drop actually allows you to do some fun targeting options with it as well. So you can sort of say, okay, I've tried this pin, it was great, but then, you know, I might've got a ton of people that were outside of the area that I really want to work in because it's just, you know, too far to drive, or I don't serve that area as much. So I can move that pin and I can just kind of adjust it over the one direction. And I actually have a better result of now getting more people that I'm looking for and in that area.
All right, thank you.
What I said earlier to Joe was, like I said, you have your MLS. Why not use the data you have? Instead of making a crapshoot, just tossing it, go find your active pinning and solds mirror, see where the most activity was, take an address that's in there. And just like on my MLS search, I can do a radius search on that. So take your MLS, do the radius search in the active pinning solds, find out the busiest areas, and then take one of those addresses and use that to find your pin drop to go in. And that way you're in the heart of activity and you're getting real-time statistics because the MLS data is accurate.
Yeah, our whole area is hot. So
one question.
One sec, Marcus. Susan had a question here. She's waiting very patient.
Oh, sorry about that.
Let Susan ask her question first.
I'm getting an error that says locations can't be used. Some of your locations overlap. Try removing a location.
You're doing multiple pin drops, I would assume, right?
No, I was just trying to create the ad with the image and I did a pin drop, but.
You might have accidentally put in the area in targeting. So remove everything, start from scratch and just do the pin drop again. It should resolve that.
So when you do a pin drop, you don't put in the city, you just put in the pin. Oh, okay.
Yeah, when you get to the ad targeting, it's going to say what city and or neighborhood do you want to target, and then there's also a pin drop button. If you put in the city name and then also pin drop, you're duplicating your target. It's trying to do two radiuses in basically the same area, and there's overlap, and it won't allow it.
Okay, thank you.
Now I lost my train of thought. Oh, Instagram. So one of the question was, do we want to go into Instagram too? And I don't know if John or Steve, you want to take this, but I kind of advise people not to until we can figure out when we can separate Instagram stats from Facebook stats, right? Because right now we're pulling in data that's coming specifically from Facebook, but we don't have the ability to tell you what Instagram is specifically pulling yet. Is that correct, John?
You know, so I think of it this way, like if you do an Instagram test, just click the Instagram box, then uncheck the Facebook box. And then you can do like a really good Instagram test that way. And
okay, that makes sense.
And then the other thing you can do is, just use Instagram is it's being used by a lot of people now. It's worth running ads. It's worth being on Instagram. If you are finding that, again, like always start with the best practices first. So start with Facebook, start with a broad map. Once you have one that's working, now you can say, okay, let's try Instagram. Let's try, because you can beat it. And George is on here. He's been killing it. You've been killing it on TikTok, hey? It's like there's a lot of it's like once you've got sort of like your meat and potatoes, it's like you want to get that really dialed in first because you want the consistency. You want to be able to know that you're getting good lead flow at a good price. So you want to get that going. Then you can start to say, okay, let's get creative with that. And, try another ad, try something, try Instagram, try a different platform. But it's just get that consistency. So you really got your ABCs dialed first and then play with it. But yeah, by all means, Instagram works great. It's a great platform, and that's why we have it in there.
So to reiterate that though, if you're going to do Instagram by itself, not both, right? Because if you're going to test Instagram, just keep the Instagram box checked. Don't check both boxes, or else you won't know which is which. And
different imagery too. Like, the map image we know works amazingly well. It works well on both platforms, but on Instagram, that Hollywood Hills, that would be great on Instagram. So choose a picture that is gonna resonate really well, like a beautiful home property. Like if you're doing a listing and you got if you got a beautiful pool in the backyard, make that an Instagram ad, because that's gonna work well on Instagram. So choosing creative.
So Jonathan, are you saying like because of the younger vibe of Instagram to pick something that resonates with like the millennials and the snowflakes?
Yeah, to look, you want it to look native. You want it to look like it's native to that platform. So if you scroll down Instagram feeds, you're going to see a lot of like beautiful photos. You're going to see a lot, you know what I mean? Like you wanting it to feel like it's part there. And
so really more artistic looking.
Yeah, it could be a little more artistic, or just like, you know, like a nice sunset, or just like beautiful pool, beautiful backyard, beautiful home. Those do really well on Instagram.
Hey, what's a snowflake, Jennifer? I've never heard that one before.
You're a snowflake.
A snowflake is my daughter. Google it, you'll find out.
Okay, and second of all, Instagram now is almost the same as Facebook. Like my parents in their 70s are on Instagram, and most people I know are on both Facebook and Instagram. So it's worth trying on both because they're like one and the other almost.
I'm not on Instagram.
Well,
are you guys concerned at all about what's going on in the States with social media and like the conservative, I don't know, exodus of certain social medias?
Oh man, I think this is a good time for everyone who's advertising on Facebook right now, because you're getting your dollar's going further. So
I think your ad just receive your home value and put Trump on that picture.
I disagree wholeheartedly. I say we steer clear of politics altogether on our ads personally, but
don't like steer clear. Especially right now, steer clear. That's just wisdom as well, just because Facebook itself, like the last thing they want to do is get caught up in that. So they are being extra careful with how they're reviewing their ads, extra careful with all that stuff. But the blessing is that your ad spend is going way further. Like Coca-Cola pulled out. Like that's awesome. Like thank you. So it really is. It's a good time for testing ads and getting them out there right now.
I think, just to double down on what Jonathan's saying, I think that's so incredibly important to mention, because we all know that a lot of realtors have been sitting on their hands through this whole, event. And that happens. That means that a lot of people who were, testing the waters of Facebook ads have stopped altogether. But we're not only worried about other realtors, we're always, concerned isn't the right word, but we're aware of the fact that Facebook is an ad auction space, and you're not competing against just realtors. You're competing against Coca-Cola, Adidas, Nike, Doritos, all these huge companies, and a lot of them have really peeled back their spend right now based on what's happening. So what better opportunity? And the way I look at this is if your footprint or if the footprint is market share, right? And all these toes have drawn back, you now have all this open space to come and put your foot in there and stay firmly planted. And when all these other people start coming back in, there's less market share available. This is that time to really soak up that market share and become the master of the space. Leave less scraps for the people to come when they come back. There's going to be less food available, right?
And when you're all like when you get an ad with a good algorithm performance, audience performance, you'll know that ad continues to perform well. It turns into an evergreen ad, so it has a long lifetime. And the beautiful thing about that is, like in a month from now, 30 days, or when Coca-Cola comes back, that ad's going to continue to perform because it's got in Facebook's algorithm, like it's got great relevancy, it's got a great audience match. Facebook wants that ad to keep running because it says, wow, this is a relevant ad to our community. We want this to stay relevant. So it's going to keep performing. So this is, like I said, it's a great time to be running split tests right now. It's a great time to be getting good ads out there.
Quick question as it relates to Instagram, because I didn't even know that we can run an ad through Instagram. Same ads that we're using that are within the funnel, just pick one there. And then obviously, I agree with you, like the graphics got to be like spectacular for Instagram. So just obviously upload a nice like high res image.
At the end of the funnel builder, there's two check marks. That one says Facebook, that's always checked, and one that's Instagram that we leave unchecked. Simply check the Instagram one as well and then deploy, as long as you've already connected your Instagram account. If you haven't, there'll be a prompt in that builder to connect that.
Wait. Not simply check it as well, because if you're gonna check them both,
run them separately.
Yeah, Instagram by itself.
And you have to always run Facebook.
Oh, you do? Okay, Steve's correct. So we will. Okay.
I was trying to tell you, Marcus, but
I get. So yeah, it's just. I guess the question I'm gonna always have is, how do we know what Instagram is doing?
Yeah, we will separate out those stats.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
There you go.
Stephen, are you saying that you're going to separate the toggle switches so we can do Instagram only at some point?
We just have not so we won't only do Instagram, but we're just going to pull up the metrics so that you can see the stats on both. We have about this many features that are coming out right now. So it is on the list and it's coming. We got some really cool things happening actually on the contact side and the lead management side right now. So stay tuned. We'll be dropping some of those little hints in. Obviously, you've noticed the navigation's changed. And so the navigation was a big move so that we could put a whole bunch of these different updates in place. So yeah, we'll let you know on those. But eventually in the future here, the Instagram and Facebook stats will separate just so you can track your lead costs on each side.
And from a company standpoint, for myself, I like to come up with the crazy ideas. My favorite and least favorite thing to hear are, that's a great idea, but we're months and months away from that. But the reason for it is because we've got all these other cool things that we're working on that are coming out. So, and the one thing that we always ask is, anytime somebody's looking for something, let us know, let your coach know, put it in the insider group. Let us know what you guys are looking for. And it's not like we can just snap our fingers and make it happen, but we can certainly add it to the list of upcoming developments. And if we hear, things very consistently, this is what I'm looking for, we can start to prioritize things to make sure that those take priority. So continue letting us know what you guys are looking for, and we can make sure to start scheduling things in.
Also, just one other note on that, we do have a Facebook group that's specific around the product. So if you're very passionate about shaping the future or particular features that you want, please reach out to your coach and we can invite you into the product Facebook group so that you can actually test features and know about features long before anyone else, and you can really get your input on that.
Awesome. Any other questions before we let you go? Wow, it's been an awesome mastermind. So loaded. Any other questions? We all have the takeaway from this, right? Though we're all going to go launch a 3-ad split test with the new funnel today. Yeah.
I have a question. I think I have asked you, but I just want to make sure that it's clear. I'm still on the test of the trial, but I have received a couple leads that they don't have the actual address written, but I see the address on the map. Is that the actual physical address for their property on the set of leads?
I think so. You see the ad on the image of the ad itself?
Yeah, I see the image of the ad and I see an address in there. I don't know if that's the address.
Ready, I'll work with you. I'll work with you on that. So when you go to your contact section, there's an address tab on the very top. If you click on addresses, you'll see all of the addresses, including the ones that are not contacts, just addresses, right?
Yeah, I see some that they don't have the address there, but I see the address on the map.
I'll work with you on that okay. You and I one-on-one. I'll look at that for you. Cool. Any other questions? Awesome. We'll let you go. Happy Canada Day to our Canadians. Thanks for coming. I want to see everybody's results.
Thanks.
Everybody's results. So go right now, find that photo, run a 3-ad split test, share the results in the insider group. We're excited to see them.
Yeah, happy Canada Day and a preemptive happy July 4th as well.
Yeah.
So enjoy this.
We'll be seeing a lot of you for that. So happy 4th.
Happy 4th. Happens to be my birthday, so it's a good day.